pull a rope-a-dope where they play the exact same classes they played yesterday, but they change what type of classes.
Sure, sure. It's
That'd
not
be
Miracle Rogue, it's Tempo Rogue, right? It's
yeah, exactly. Or druid, token druid versus I don't know the ramp druid type of thing. That'd be pretty cool metagaming strategies there. But before we get started, kind of want to get some housekeeping out of the way. We're running a really cool raffle. WellPlayed is. If you go to wellplayed.org/raffle, you can enter and win some T-shirts, some Rainbow Kappas from Twitch, some coasters from the Blizzard store, and I think there's gonna be 22 different winners. And the way you enter it is just I think there's like 5 or 6 ways to do it. You can follow on Twitter, follow on Twitch, like on Facebook. All those things are listed there, and you can enter multiple times. So go ahead and do that. Give a chance to win. And I believe there's a survey too, Frodan. Is that correct?
Yeah, there's a survey just get some feedback on how WellPlayed is doing. They're trying lots of cool stuff, and you guys have been seeing the production and whatnot. WellPlayed guys are super down to earth, really open to all kinds of feedback. So go ahead, you see in the bottom right of your screen, wellplayed.org/survey, and just give some feedback on the event.
Awesome. So first series we have here is going to be Kitkatz versus SjoW. I don't think I've ever seen these guys play each other in any events that I can recall. But Kitkat's obviously a really talented NA player, famous for his warrior decks. And then we got SjoW here, who is also a very top EU player, used to be a StarCraft player, StarCraft Pro actually, and was quite good in StarCraft. And this should be an interesting matchup.
Well, yeah, SjoW is has a really rich history in StarCraft, even dating back to the very beginning of the beta. He was one of the dominant European Terrans, winning a lot of the tournaments like IEMs, even making really late runs. Most recently in DreamHack summer, I believe, of last year, where he took out Life, who was a really high-ranked foreign Zerg. But that's all in the past. Now SjoW focuses solely on Hearthstone, but he's coming out for big blood this time around because yesterday he went out 0-3, and so did KitKat. So both of these guys, they're trying to make their mark in the tournament. I don't think they want to go out 0-6, and I think we're going to find out what's going to happen here in game number one here, J-Man.
Okay, it looks like KitKat's starting off with that innervate. That's pretty much exactly what you want when you're playing Druid. And oh, it looks like SjoW's full of a bunch of spells here, so not an
Yes,
ideal
that
opening, but he does have
that
the coins.
conceal prep definitely means Miracle Rogue. And keep in mind, again, these players were able to switch decks in between, but for the most part, I don't think you want to change too much. At the same time, what you bring to a tournament is maybe doesn't really matter so much as to surprising your opponent versus playing well.
Mhm.
Yesterday, there were still some questionable decisions, some misplays from
Yeah.
players, and I think the most important thing is having a focused mind and being able to make the right calls.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people don't really understand that there's such a huge difference between playing on ladder and then when you play in these events. There's a lot of pressure in these
Sure, sure.
events. There's 3K on the line here in this tournament, so the pressure can really get to you sometimes. SjoW actually ends up drawing the gadgets in, so
Ooh.
definitely improved his hand by a
He's
ton just with that
on the
one.
coin. He
He's on
has conceal and
exactly,
preparation, Chan man. I think
exactly.
this is almost the dream. The only thing that could have made us better is some early drops. Maybe like the SI7, maybe something
Yeah,
like a Farseer. Even if he had a 4 drop, say like a Gnomish Inventor, that could be better. But other than that, he's like one deadly poison away from just running away with this game.
yeah, absolutely. Kickaz, got that early Harvest Golem, but he doesn't have much to really back it up right now. Does have a Harrison Jones just in case to really alleviate any poison daggers from
Mhm.
SjoW, which will be really nice. Getting rid of at least 3 damage is really nice.
It's really annoying to deal with this Harvest Golem early because spending removal on it makes it's so sticky. You usually need to spend two, sometimes
Mhm.
even 3 cards, or at least 3 mana worth of cards in order to get rid of it.
Yeah.
But one thing that has really nice here for shows that he hasn't seen a big follow. There's no like wild growth. There's no follow up to anything because he's not playing minions. So in a sense, as much as it's really annoying, he's been able to relieve pressure. But look at it. The Harvest Golem is going to be doing a cumulative of what 8 damage. That's
Yeah,
so
amazing.
much over time,
That's
and
crazy value for
that
that.
sets up potential ways to utilize combo later on, especially since he has
Mhm.
one piece of it already with Force of Nature. So as much as Kickcast hasn't been following up his Innervate, I think his start is pretty decent.
Yeah, I think so too. And just got a keeper of a grove too. So he's really thinking about, do I continue and just press? Get him down to 18 here. Yeah, actually 18 here. That would be, that would actually put him within 4 of the combo, and he already has
Hmm.
half of the combo already.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's what he's
And
doing.
I think he feels like if a Van Cleave came out, he'd be a little bit sad, but the whole point is he still is draining his opponent's life. So I think he has a second keeper, use it while you can, Next turn, you have the ability to use Harrison Jones just to draw a card and make life more difficult for the Miracle Rogue player.
Yeah.
Even if he's not having a Deadly Poison charge, the fact is he has to spend 2 more mana to spend it, and that could be really annoying for the Miracle Rogue player if they want to get set up.
In SjoW right now, he's in this position where he has his late game pretty much lined up for him already. Like his
Oh
finish
my goodness.
is starting to line up already. So he's trying to decide, should I just like throw out the Eviscerate, just get rid of everything on the board and just buy some time until I can get to the next turn gadgets and conceal, or do I do it like right now? And look, oh
Well,
wow, double.
second conceal basically says
There we
that was
go.
an excellent call. And
Yeah.
second conceal is interesting. That's starting to being cycled back into the metagame more for Miracle Rogues,
Hmm.
just because it's again it's really good in when you have that gadget stand, and when you have it in the mirror especially, it gives you much more opportunities to set up lethals and whatnot. So
Yeah.
having that second conceal is gonna be SjoW's key to victory. But again, we see Kitkatz is he's gonna be able to rack on more damage, more pressure, and if SjoW doesn't draw his Farseers, he can be in big trouble despite having a good start.
Wow. So Kitkatz draws a swipe, so he can actually take him down to 10 on this turn, which is getting a little scary for SjoW. Again, like you were saying, I mean, if he gets two down too low, he's not going to even get a chance to throw down that Leroy Jenkins.
I
And
like the
in that
Harrison
combo.
play though, because
Yeah, I did
again,
too.
it not only does it fit the curve, it draws 2 cards, and he has to spend 2 more mana if he has Deadly Poison anyways. So it's just
Yeah,
annoying for SjoW because that might mess up a drop. Say, for example, if he wanted to clean drop a 3 mana card, but he can't because he ran out from weaponing up. I think this is smarter to do.
yeah. I have a feeling that Force of Nature, you're not going to even need to wait for Savage Roar. He might just play Force of Nature and really push for damage here.
Yeah, he
I mean,
represents
seriously.
lethal if he has Force of Nature
Yeah,
next turn. So
this, this is pretty
SjoW has to
sick.
get this.
Yeah, the aggro druid.
How do you start this off? I guess you just conceal
Yeah,
first because you're going to
Seal
attack,
Eviscerate. Yeah.
and then
Oh, there's
continue
the
just
other
to
shadow step.
combos.
Yeah.
And second eviscerate. I guess you just weapon up and kill off the 2/1, which again, it's like, well, I'm at 12 health, but still, he can't innervate combo, so that's like one thing that's
I
nice.
I think if SjoW, wow,
The only way he could lose right now is if he double innervated combo, I think. And that's highly unlikely. So I think SjoW still feels really good.
another swipe,
If Kitkatz had an
another
innervate,
swipe.
if
I mean,
Kitkatz had
SjoW
an
has to be able to
innervate,
kill him in 2 turns here. If he doesn't kill him in 2 turns, then Kitkatz has the damage already, and SjoW can't do anything about it unless he draws 2 Farseers in a row and shadow steps them, type of thing.
yeah. Precisely. His opponent does have the gadgets in, but how much is that really going to be a
Yeah,
concern? I think if you just kind of attack your opponent down, bring him to 7, you put him on a guaranteed 2-turn clock, assuming he doesn't have, or actually even if he draws into like an innervate, he
yeah,
actually just
Innervate
straight up
wins it for
win.
him. Yeah.
So he has a lot of outs here to just completely destroy him.
Okay,
So
so
SjoW
there's
picks
the
up a
draw.
Farseer though.
There's the
Wow.
draw.
Okay.
Okay, this puts him back in the game. He's going to be able to. He can shadow step this twice if he wants, and I think he's going to consider doing it twice.
Yeah. Puts him outside of the combo range. What it does stink though is that even if he shadow steps twice, the follow up is still pretty poor.
It is. He's going to
But
have to rely on Edwin heavily to do some damage because he's removing 12 damage right from Leroy Jenkins by using the shadow steps on the heels.
you
He's in
realize
a
that
tough.
that harvest golem did the equivalent of pyroblasting SjoW in this game. It did 10 damage over the course of 4 turns.
Innervate plus
Pretty
7 mana.
ridiculous. Yeah. Why
That
not?
is crazy. All right,
All right.
so
He's
you
basically
ready?
hoping he doesn't have innervate combo, but that's still kind of unlikely. It's not exactly the highest percentage he has it, but Kickats might draw into that innervate eventually and use it later.
Yeah.
But the most important thing is he's also kind of stabilized, got his opponent within critical health without losing control of the board. And now Kitkatz, like this is where the power turns really start coming in from Druid usually with things like Ancient of Lore and whatnot, while being able to threaten the board and being able to pick up extra cards. An Innervate comes out from Kitkatz. Whoa, that was a little bit late, but
Wow. Okay, so the question is, he has an Earthen Ring Farseer because he shadow stepped it, right? So he really has 16, just next turn if he can get to
sure.
it. So the question is whether you develop your board by throwing down, I guess, wrathing the auctioneer and throwing down the Ancient Allure, or do you continue and push? And he's going to get 3 more, so he can get up to 6 and go with not 6 but 16. So you can go with a swipe again, and I guess follow it up with a hero power or something. Just keep continuing to push with damage because you have a Ragnaros behind this too next
That is
turn.
true. That is true. Assuming you have the Ragnarok set up, you might be able to set yourself into a 50-50 coin flip where either way you take out a big minion or a huge minion like an Azure Drake, or you win the game. So you could set it up. But I like Wrathing because you push yourself closer to finding another piece of the combo. With
Yeah.
these kinds of decks nowadays, I'm almost positive Kitkatz on a double combo. And so just picking up another Savage Roar or one of the Savage Roar pieces would be just so
Auto
big,
win. Yeah.
especially with, yeah, the Ancient of
Yeah.
Lore as a follow-up. I wouldn't be mad at Kitkatz for just going for draws at this point.
Okay. So he does. He
See what he picks up with the
Yep.
two cards.
All right. Let's see. It's a good chance for Savage. You got two left in there.
But what's so important is that SjoW still has to deal with the 5/5.
Oh, he
Oh, and he
got it.
does pick
He
up the
got it.
Savage Roar.
Yeah.
Okay. So in 2 turns, he knows he can.
Oh wow.
Actually, if he picks up even Druid of the Claw and Druid of the Claw plus Savage Roar in charge mode, that also can finish the game. So Kitkatz has a lot at his disposal. SjoW has to feel way under pressure at the moment and needs to do something big. Swing back momentum.
SjoW drew the other Earthring Farseer, so now he's actually got six heal here, and I think but he's not going to play it. He's just going to go ahead and try to really get establish the board here and give himself a chance to win. Because a lot of times, just staying alive isn't going to be enough to get you a win. And
Yeah,
he's trying to give himself the best percentage chance to win this game, and getting something on the board right now, I think it achieves that for him.
exactly. He knows his opponent used both innervates, so there's no way he can innervate combo
Yeah.
at this point. So now he has one more turn to kind of set it up, or at least put himself just outside of reach. How does Kitkatz respond to this? He can
Well,
clear a board.
he has a combo. Oh no, he doesn't quite have the combo, but
Right.
he's used
He,
Innervate last turn,
he
so
can
he,
clear the board, but at the same time, it doesn't. He knows his opponent has a Farseer, so he
yeah.
has to kind of account for 3 extra health. He doesn't know second Farseer's in SjoW's hand, but at least have to calculate to put him at what's equivalent to 11 health.
Gotta remove it. I think you gotta remove the 6/6 because, again, like without the Shadow Steps, SjoW really has limited damage. You get rid of the Van Cleef, he might not even be able to kill you at 28. Like
Hmm.
period. So I think removing that 6/6 would be really really good at this point, even if you don't establish the board here.
How much do you YOLO though? Like, if you just like Argent Commander, for example, and just say you have to have both Farseers. I mean, he has to have both. No, no, no. If he Argent Commander's an attack space with hero power, actually, even if he has both
Yeah,
Farseers with
that's
no
true.
Shadow Step,
That works too. Yeah.
yeah. But he's just gonna go for the Wrath just to be extra safe, so that way his opponent can't get huge damage off of other things. But I think now he's basically saying, I'm gonna take kind of the middle approach and say you need to have both Farseers in order to live and get rid of this Argent Commander.
So 22 damage. Is 22 damage even possible without Shadow Step?
Not without stuff like Cold Bloods,
Yeah,
and
right?
you
I don't
need to kind
even.
of you need to kind of have something like Gadgetzan to keep that engine going.
I mean, he could have two poisons, a cold blood,
Maybe
a
some
blade.
Sinister
I mean, if he had
Strikes or
full
something.
a full blade too, so he could do 10, 6. I guess if you had
Yeah,
two, yeah, you could do 24.
yeah.
Yeah,
Kind of
that's
have to
pretty tough.
imagine
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
he'd have to spend it's like a blade flurry here to get rid of the creature. It's again really annoying, but at least SjoW lives, and this is kind of like a consequence to Kitkatz not fully committing
Hmm.
to setting up lethal for the next turn, and gives SjoW a little bit of life, 15 health. He says basically Kitkatz can't kill him this turn because he doesn't have Innervate anymore.
Look
Two
at that.
combos is
He's got
great,
two
sure.
combos. So you could use the
Oh,
first one just to clear if you wanted to, honestly. But is there a
yeah.
better way to clear this? Let's see.
Well, I think
You
you
could.
do use combo because then you have
You,
it. You use your hero power, do 4 damage. He's out of Farseers,
mhm,
out of Shadow
yep.
Steps. He needs to kill you next turn with what he has.
He could actually. He doesn't even have to use. He doesn't even have to use Savage Roar. He could actually use Swipe there too, and clear it. And he could have used Force of Nature and Swipe to clear
He,
this
he
too. If
could
he,
have. He could have.
yeah.
No, he doesn't have enough mana for that. He had only
God,
9
what
mana
is up
that
with me,
turn.
man? I'm always off by 1 mana.
No, you're planning a turn ahead, Jim, and you're
I
thinking
know
too.
exactly. I'm
It's what
always
you have to
one.
do when you're playing, but when you're casting, you got to think about the present sometimes
Exactly.
too.
Okay, so
All right. So how
SjoW,
much damage
what
does he
can
have? Let's
he
see.
do?
He has 6, 9, 10 plus the deadly poisons. So
Yeah, there's
that's
no way. This
14 plus a blade flurry. That's 19. That's assuming he had everything capable of pulling it out.
only 19. That's it.
I know, right? Kitkatz
I
has
know.
done such a good job putting on
Seriously.
pressure and not taking damage in response. We're like, wow, he has 19 damage and he still
Kick,
can't kill his opponent.
Kick doesn't even heal a single time. That's what's crazy about it. He's in turn 9 with a Miracle Rogue, and he's only taken 3 damage.
Well, he's
Uh,
been healing with hero power, I guess, if that's what you count as
Maybe a
healing,
few
but
times,
that's
but
not really
yeah.
healing, I suppose. That's
Yeah.
like he's using his hero power more aggressively than defensively, at least from the beginning stages of the game. And like if you're Kickouts and you see an Agidrake come out now, then you feel like the game is secure because there's nothing he can follow up. He's used more than half his mana to just alone try to whittle down his opponent. But I think if you're Kitkatz, you're feeling pretty good. This double combo paid off perfectly, and he's able to hide important tech like Ragnaros, which may pay off in future games.
Yep. And Kitkat's going to take game number 1 here, guys. Go up 1-0 in this best of 5 series. Going to go with some style, the typical Druid style here.
Oh man, that's
Twice in
right.
a row. God, we see that
This,
so often now, man. The Druids
we
drawing
do.
both of them.
Although
So
I usually see a sorry right before the second combo. That's what I've been doing whenever I play on the European server, man.
you're
Everyone says
so
sorry.
you're so mannered, or not actually.
Oh, Kitkatz hits the lethal but misses the BM. But it's okay because it's first game. Maybe he has 4 other guys in their social media. I know Kitkatz, again, he's
Oh
looking
yeah.
for a new team. SjoW is on Root currently, which is a nice group of friends and community. They have other good players like SjoW and Eggy on that team.
Hmm.
But meanwhile, Kitkatz, he's still trying to pad his resume. So he wants to continue to move on in this losers bracket and not drop a hair. Meanwhile, SjoW's still looking for his first win of the tournament. And you know
Oh yeah.
what? He might pick it up with a zoo deck.
All right, and it looks like he's going to keep Doomguard here. Oh no, I was going to say he's really slow to X that one out.
I think if you're on the coin, keeping Doomguard is, while it's really nice to have Doomguard, having a
Mhm.
really powerful double one drop with something like Flame and Voidwalker is even more
Yeah.
important. Just because the start snowballs, so that way when Doomguard comes out, the board is already soft enough for him to have high impact.
Okay, so SjoW has a pretty decent start here. Not the ideal damage heavy start that you like to see a lot of times, but he does draw the knife juggler. That knife juggler can be super cost efficient with those knives,
Yep.
really softening up a lot of the minions that are on the board in turns 1 and 2 from your opponent.
Yep, he also doesn't coin out the second Voidwalker because the impact is actually exactly the same. The Knife Jockey will do 1
Yep.
damage, or the Voidwalker will attack for 1 damage, in which case he might draw into something better of a 1 drop. Say he gets like a Young Priestess and his opponent can't respond to it immediately. You put out Knife Juggler and Young Priestess, and that way gives you more flexibility in case you draw into that 1 drop.
Yep. Great points there. Kitkatz doesn't have a play there. He doesn't want to wrath that Voidwalker, given that the Voidwalker is such low damage. Not really worth the using one of the few spells you do have to remove units here. And Knife Juggler's going to come down. I'm
Mhm.
thinking he's going to coin out the Voidwalker. No, okay, so he just waits.
Well, if his opponent can't Wrath, then you put out like a Defender of Argus, and then like it gets really
Oh,
sick.
true,
Or
true.
even better, what you do is if you pick up something really good and you have like a lot of low drops, you drop the Voidwalker in response to your opponent because it just like it's really good surprise, and
Yeah.
just completely destroys your opponent. But the Defender of Argus value is just so high that I think SjoW can't resist. And now Kitkatz is like, oh well, I went for the Harvest Golem and played off curve in response, but at the same time he took a lot of damage for it.
Does have a Wrath. We'll be able to remove the Knife Juggler here and Wild Growth. Or I think he's going to use a hero power here to remove the other Voidwalker, I'm sure. And how's he looking the next turn? He's got an Azure Drake. It's a nice minion to get on the board, but it doesn't actively respond to anything. So that's going to be can still be an issue for Kitkatz, especially if SjoW draws something like a Soulfire.
It's not as clear cut though, just to hero power and kill off the Voidwalker, because the Wild Growth does empower you to use Argent Commander the following turn and also pick up another 2 for 1, especially if he drops something powerful like a Dark Iron Door. But then the follow up is that Voidwalker lives, so if he buffs it for some reason and adds even more annoyance, then you lose more of the board. So I think in that defense, you're right, Chan.
Yeah, not only that, you take an additional 3 or 4 damage, which, man, in this matchup, that
That's
could spell
true. That's
death.
true.
Even just additional damage in turn 3 and 4. It's kind of crazy that way. So SjoW ends up throwing down two pretty sticky minions here with the Harvest Golem, and then
Yeah.
again, like you said, Kitkatz isn't going to be able to play that Argent Commander this turn, which with the charge is more proactive. He draws a Keeper of the Grove though. Could be helpful.
That doesn't help right now, but what it will help eventually is anything that comes out in the future gives him an
Mhm.
easy 2-for-1. Kind of unfortunate that it came out now instead of later. He would have been a perfect answer to something like the Knife Juggler or something, if assuming
Yeah.
it wasn't buffed. That's what's just the power of the Keeper of the Grove. And now Kitkatz, well, it's still like a little bit of a tougher turn because he can also
Right.
clear this Voidwalker while dropping a Harvest Golem. The Azure Drake is a 4/4, but it's easily traded with something like an Abusive Sergeant on the Defender of Argus.
Mhm.
So I think he has to kind of weigh his options here, Chairman.
Yeah, I think you're right too. I think. Oh, he's gonna. Oh wow. Okay, so he's gonna go with the Harvest Golem instead.
Yep. It's a stickier minion. He needs
Yep.
board presence. Again, the Azure Drake can just die really easily, and his opponent can just take command of the board in a more dominating fashion. A Harvest Golem is, again, really hard for your opponent to remove. Most likely what he'll do is SjoW's going to ignore, especially with that Boots Sergeant draw.
Oh wow.
But
Okay.
this will force SjoW to ignore the minions or the Harvest Golem, and then that can give Kitkatz the ability to surprise him with something like an Argent Commander following turn.
All right, gonna take him down to. Wow, it's gonna take him down to 13 here. Surprised he didn't use the Sergeant there, just to sneak in another two. But he was gonna wait until the next turn, throw down the Wolf and the Sergeant, and he's looking really good here. Kitkatz needs man, he needs a swipe possibly. I don't even know if a
Yeah,
swipe's gonna
yeah.
help him here, actually.
I think the swipe definitely would be useful because he'd at least remove some of these minions efficiently, being able to push through. But it's so difficult because as much as being able to handle the fire, shows sneaking in damage every turn. And this
Yeah,
is where I think keeping the Boosted Sergeant is really smart because he knows that these power turns are going to be really big for Kitkatz. And you can use this Abusive Sergeant to sneak in a trade. Plus, if he draws into a Doom Guard, he still has the opportunity to abuse something on the board and
yeah.
Doom Guard. So I think having it in hand is really nice.
All right, so this turn, tough turn for Kitkatz. I'd be looking at Force of Nature here to remove as much of this as possible. The Argent Commander does nice, can remove the Argus, but it's not going to do much from the standpoint of removing. It's not going to remove any of the other minions, which is going to allow SjoW to continually buff, continue to set up some even better trades, or even just push damage here. So what would you do here? I think I would go with Force of Nature myself.
Yeah, the Force of Nature, well, okay, if you Force of Nature, you kill off the two, you have 8 damage, no, 10 damage to spread around. You're able to kill off everything. Well, I guess the drawback is that Force of Nature gets to kill off the damage golem while Guardian Commander doesn't, but he puts a 4/2 on the board and
Yeah.
leaves a 2/1. So
Oh,
I think in that respect, Kitkat's rather just go for it, and then he can draw into something like Swipe or whatnot even later.
okay,
I
that's
think
fair.
either one is okay. Still
All
not
right,
perfect.
so SjoW's really close to lethal here. He's got, no, actually, let me see. He's got
Five,
5,
nine,
9,
11. He's
11.
got
Yeah,
11
he's got
damage.
11.
If he drew into Soulfire, that actually would have been game.
All right, so I'm thinking he's gonna probably trade into that Argent Commander just because there's just so much value with the Divine
Heck
Shield.
yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
That is so juicy. The damage golem gets to trade into the Argent Commander,
yeah.
and then you get to pick up. You use one creature to do heavy damage. Most likely, value the Divine Shield for maybe, Shattered Stone Cleric. I think
Mm,
overall, SjoW feels very comfortable. He still hasn't even hit some of his most powerful cards yet, like Doomguard or
yep.
Soulfire. He's
Or
got
Soulfire.
lots of
Yeah, he
ammo.
hasn't even used the Soulfire yet, so 4 draws potentially for the
Most
win here.
definitely.
Yeah. All right, so he's gonna up this, gonna get 5 damage from that. Another 4 from the Sergeants if he wants to use it here. Gets him down to 4.
I think he might even yeah, I wouldn't be mad if he just ignored this damage golem
Yeah, I think I
and
would have ignored
went
it.
for a lot of damage because then you pick up so many ways. Oh,
Whoa, whoa,
oh,
whoa, whoa,
whoa,
whoa,
oh,
whoa,
show. Oh, I think
whoa,
he missed damage here. Oh, buddy.
whoa. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
too
Now
bad.
he's got to play Argent Square here. That was definitely a misplay there. Uh,
I think I'd also put the Argent Squire on the far left, so that way when the 1/1 inevitably dies,
yep.
it slides in. And if he hero powers it down, for example, it that Argent Squire slides in anyways.
No, that's a great point. Yeah, positioning
Yeah.
is so important. Typically, it's not quite as important in this matchup as much as something like the Shaman matchup where the Flame Dunk
Mhm.
Totem is so important. But no, that's an excellent point, Frodan.
And if he had 2 extra damage and the 2/1 would be alive, then he would be at 8 health. And then, well, actually, I guess in the end, it's not really that consequential. SjoW's still in a really good position. He still has lots
Yeah,
of
he
ways
should still win
for
this. Yeah.
his Abusive Sergeant to do stuff.
Kitkatz really needed a swipe there, and even a swipe, yeah, a swipe would have helped quite a bit there. Let's see if he runs a Force of Nature here. Man, he only gets rid of two minions here if he runs a Force of Nature. That's unfortunate, and he
Yeah.
can't even hero power behind it either.
No, in which
So tough.
case you can make an argument that it might be better just to play Druid of the Claw because it accomplishes the same kind of idea of the
Think
minions
so?
attacking.
What do you think
Well,
about Keeper of the Grove? Keeper of the Grove and hero power.
well,
Kill the
or
wolf.
yeah, I guess. But then you have a 4-2 instead of a 2-4. Like Force of Nature, effectively, it has to come out here because you have to kill off whatever you can and just limit his opponent's damage. It's just that right now your options are just so bad, and every single point of damage I would argue is really important. So maybe in that regard, doesn't even matter.
There we go. And there's the finish with the Doom Guard. He had a really high chance of drawing a winning card here. He had four draws with us two Soulfires and the two Doom Guards. Two draws too. So SjoW ends up tying it up with a win with the Zoo deck, and it's 1-1 in a best of fives. You can make some mistakes and still run your opponent over, but at the highest of levels, which we're looking at, every bit of you have to play it correctly just to get that extra turn. Like you have to have that lethal at optimal and on an optimal turn, because that's the difference a lot of times in these type of games between the highest, the best pros in the world. So there is quite a bit of skill playing Zoo too, just to the optimal levels.
Sure,
Okay,
sure.
Kit
And
Kat's with
let's see what Kitkatz is able to do with Miracle. He picks up two really important things. He picks up an answer to Zoo with like
yeah.
backstabs and even a Thanos Shiv, as well as the coin. So those kinds of things will be really nice. He still hasn't picked up SI7 though, but he has another 3 drop, which at least gives him something to do rather than hero power pass, which is
Yeah.
something often Miracle Rogues do if they don't have good draws.
Oh, he draws the Gadget Sand, so he's looking pretty good. SjoW's starting off a little slow here. He's getting those more of the taunts, more of the less damage minions, which you don't
Yeah.
like to see whenever you're playing Zoo.
Yeah, and the Young Priestess is kind of annoying. It's going to buff one of these creatures to slightly out of Blade Flurry range.
Yeah.
And, again, SjoW might tickle his opponent to death this game with the kind of start he has. But Kitkatz also has a pretty explosive way to respond. He has his Gadget Sand, which is a little bit hard. Sometimes you spend your resources so much that Gadget Sand isn't worth it. But oftentimes, even just the 1-2 spells it draws can be so clutch because the spells that Rogue has often deals with Zeus so well. Fan of Knives,
Blade Flurry, just what he
Blade
just drew
Flurry,
there. It's an
exactly.
essential card for this. And all right, now he draws a Knife Juggler, and these taunts make a lot of sense. Or these taunts are going to serve a really great purpose here, defending that Knife Juggler, getting a lot of value from those knives.
Sure.
And we'll see if Kitkatz can draw. Well, actually, he
Does he
already
still
has a
backstab?
backstab, so he
Oh,
can
he
just
has a
get yeah,
backstab.
yeah, he
That's
has a
right.
backstab. He can just get rid of it. So
That's what you pray when you drop the knife juggler behind so many taunts. And
exactly.
the Farseer is going to be uncontested. That's going to force SjoW to Soulfire. And if SjoW picks up like second Soulfire, how crushing is that going to be?
Well, that'd be terrible.
Well, that's
Okay,
perfect.
that's a great draw actually. So he doesn't have to do that. And oh wow, he's choosing to trade the 1/3 there. Oh no, he's going to Soulfire, right? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think it'd be, kind of a waste otherwise. You might pick up in something like a Doom Guard. That always happens, by the way. If you have Soulfire on turn 4 and you choose not to play it on an
Yeah.
empty hand, practically, you're gonna draw Doom Guard. That's just like the rule. Like
Yeah,
I am
yeah.
95% convinced Joe's gonna draw Doom Guard next.
Yesterday we saw Trump play the Soulfire with three cards, including the Doom Guard. That was exciting.
That is risky. I
Risky.
don't encourage people to try that at home. But if you're feeling extra lucky that day, go ahead. Go
He
ahead.
eked it out, man. He got max value. He achieved it. All right, Kitkat's turn 4. He's looking at what's he thinking about doing here? He's looking at trying to remove some of this at least.
Think sapping the 4/4 is kind of what you have to do. His opponent, it's still 4 mana worth of minion, even though it's 2 damage right back to you, assuming he has a minion. But just do what you can. Set up for a potential Blade Flurry as well. Weapon up, have the Deadly Poison plus the Thalanos and the Blade Flurry the following
Yeah.
turn, and maybe you can make magic happen.
Yep. So he equips the weapon, gets that exact combo ready next turn, and this is going to be really powerful for him. He's going to be able to clear the board and then just have a Gadget Sand turn right after
If
it.
it buffs the Dark Iron Dwarf,
Oh,
no, it buffs
missed it.
the one Blade Walker without a health buff.
And then
Oh
the
man.
Blade Fury coming down.
Oh my god, that is perfect. Kit Kats must be yes, squiggling right now, or giggling right now, squiggling. I don't even know what. That's like squealing and giggling.
Squealing. It's a combo.
Because he's so happy that the buff did not keep one of those minions alive. That's huge.
Yeah,
The
that's
AoE clear is
that could
massive.
be game winning potentially. Gadget's gonna be coming down next turn too. He's got a Sinjin too to really deflect damage also. And Sinjin's really nice because it trades with a lot of the Zoo minions, more so than just
Hmm.
absorbs damage. So it's really cool,
Exactly.
really
You
great
play
that way.
value.
Oh wow, he
Oh, but a
gets
Doom Guard
Doom
off the
Guard comes
top from
down. Okay,
SjoW.
that's
You
gonna
know, I
help
was one
quite
card
out.
off, Chan Man.
Yeah,
One
you
card
were.
off. But
That's true.
the premise or the concept is still standing. So, hmm.
Wow. Okay, that makes it. This makes for a really interesting turn here for Kitkatz. Uh,
Do you play Gadget Sand and just coin and see what you get? Maybe draw off the Thalanos and try to see whatever spells you pick up. But then if you whiff, then you're putting yourself in position to lose because then he has really good trades with his Doom Guard. And not only that, he's going to continue to draw cards faster than you because without Gadget Sand, you're just drawing one card at a time usually. And that's where Zoo gets to snowball because he has so much health. He has 26 health. He can keep tapping, drawing two cards per turn, and you're going to get outpaced.
wow. This
Versus
is
going for the safe play.
yeah. This is really tough. I think I draw first. Maybe draw first with the Thalamus. No. Okay. He's gonna go ahead and just throw that down. Okay. So
There
he's gonna play
is
the first.
You know, Chanman, I don't. There is merit, by the way, of using your Leroy as removal for Doom guards too in this matchup, especially if you know it's your opponent's last one, and
Okay.
you're basically saying Zoo has to build a board, but at the same time, even though you lose maybe a win condition, you still have Van Cleef and stuff to impose. But Kitkatz needs to draw something big, like an
He needs
eviscerate
an
or something would be
eviscerate.
huge.
He needs eviscerate really badly here.
Anything,
Let's see if he gets it.
preparation, something would get
Anything.
this guy stand going. Oh,
Oh,
SI
SI
seven.
agent, SI7. Give
Ooh,
some.
I think you do go for it though. Gadget Sand, coin, you can SI7. You still can draw into something. I
Yeah.
think now is time. Now's the time.
Yeah. I mean, even getting SI7 down isn't the worst thing. I mean, he'll have to decide whether to deal with it or not, or just push for
Right.
damage, and then it'll set you up better.
Oh my God! Two of the worst draws you can do to
Wow.
complement this Gadget Stand. That is really tough. That is really tough.
Actually, okay, so let's
Uh,
think about this. So if he SI agents, should he shoot the do the 2 damage to the face, get him down to 20, and give himself potential lethal next
well, he
turn?
needs to
So
draw first off this Thalanos.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, and then see. But we'll talk about that in a quick sec.
Let's see what he does.
Oh, he draws a preparation. Does he get something like Fan of Knives?
He still needs
Fan of
something.
Knives would be huge.
Oh,
Oh,
backstab.
backstab? Oh, that stings because the order of it's so bad.
Yeah, it is really bad, but you got to use it. I think you still got to use backstab.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
You
It's just
even
that if he had something to reduce that damage, one life, then he can use
pretty.
SI7 to finish off
Oh
that Doom Guard.
gosh, you gotta hurry because
Oh
he's still got
man.
the draw, and he's got the SI agent play or not. Oh, Van
Oh
Knives!
my God, the
Let's get a hurry up,
Venom!
sir.
That is so
Yep.
unfortunate for Kitkatz. Just the sequencing of that draw has almost changed the potential of this game. 11 health with 3 on the board is virtually nothing to a Zoo.
He's gonna.
But you gotta kill the Gadget Stand here, though.
I think.
I
I
think
don't
you have to
know.
kill the Gadget
I think
Stand.
he might go for it.
No, it just I feel like it's too much potential what your opponent can do from that.
Okay, fair
Yeah,
enough.
I feel like why give your opponent a way to draw into lethal if that's the case, you know?
No, that's true because he's gonna have that additional 4 damage. That's a good. And then he just drew cold blood
Whoa.
too, and he's.
Wait, Chan man. I think that's lethal. Is that right? Oh wait.
Uh,
Does he have enough mana to
no, he
weapon
doesn't
up?
have. He doesn't have the weapon.
Oh, that is too bad. He had 19 damage. He just needed the weapon up.
He just needed to weapon up there. All right, so he's gonna be able to clear most of this board, and weapon up. Actually, he could clear the entire board.
And I think with that, and this has guaranteed
Oh,
lethal, he needs Soulfire. He needs to Soulfire, tap into Doomguard.
oh my
Do you
gosh!
believe,
If he
Chan
gets
man?
Doomguard and finishes this is gonna be crazy.
First, he has to sense his opponent has lethal. If he senses his opponent has lethal, he goes for it. And I think SjoW's at this point where he says, if I Soulfire, I don't think I can necessarily. If I Soulfire the Drake, for example, I don't know if I can actually win. So SjoW has to do two things. He has to recognize one that he's gonna die next turn, and the second thing he has to get this Doom Guard. 16 cards, and he has one card left.
There he is. He's
He's gonna
taking
go for it, Chan Man.
it's the right.
Let's see it. Oh my God, are you kidding me?
Oh,
No
he,
way.
oh my.
Oh my
Kid
goodness.
is probably dying over there on that draw.
Runner, runner.
Runner,
Are you
runner,
kidding?
exactly. Runner, runner, chicken dinner, man.
Oh
So
my
SjoW, he ends up
gracious.
taking it, and that was a great assessment there. Like that was a great read by him. That was probably his best chance to win. It was on that draw, because like you said, I don't think he had enough damage to really string to get 9 before Kitkatz won in 2 turns there. If you remove
And man,
the
I was
man.
telling you, what follows Soulfire Draw every time? It's the Doom Guard. It's the
So,
Doom Guard.
oh, that's exciting. Okay.
Wow, what an explosive game three to take this series lead for SjoW. At the very beginning of the series, we were like wondering whether or not he'd be exited out unceremoniously without winning a game. But now he's in a position to move on. And Kitkatz, there's a lot of hype behind him because he's a great deck builder, a strong player. But now his tournament life is on the ropes. Is he going to be the first player eliminated from the WellPlayed Cup?
He might be, but if there's a deck that he wants to play to stay in a tournament, it's going to be the Warrior, and that's what he's breaking out obviously against this Zoo now. But SjoW, wow, those are the cards you want to start with, if you're a Zoo deck. Well, actually, Kitkatz is doing quite well too with his start. He's got a Fiery War Axe, going to be able to remove these initial threats, minimize the damage that they're going to be doing. Of course, got to take it, got to take the damage with the weapon. But Armorsmith's going to help. He's got the shield block with the shield slam too, which is going to help. The Cruel Taskmaster can remove those pesky priestesses and minions like that. So he's got a
Yeah,
lot that he needs to keep up with this Zoo deck early on. Double
that's
shield bear.
yeah, that's annoying.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's gonna be tough.
Yeah, SjoW not having the coin already is kind of like a little handicap considering how slow he had to start. But these double shield bearers do make it a little bit difficult for your opponent to do anything. It'd be really annoying if the opponent dropped something like a frothing berserker then and started doing crazy stuff, especially if you don't have a soulfire. But I don't know if Kitkatz runs something like that. And these two shield bearers are going to do work.
Yeah, serious work. And just to answer that
Wait.
question, I
Oh,
think Kitkatz did have a Frothing Berserker yesterday. Oh,
oh,
and
did he? Okay.
Whirlwind double
Hmm.
Armor Smith.
I feel like you have to get rid of that
Yeah,
knife juggler though, because that kind of negates the effect of something like an armor smith. So if
yeah,
you kind of shield slam that down and then just kind of kill one of these shield bearers, I think that'd be an okay turn.
yeah. Armor up, shield slam, remove that guy, and your armor smith is still pretty safe. Or Kitkatz's armor smith is still pretty safe this turn. Nothing in SjoW's hand right now will remove it.
The alternative is also to use whirlwind and use cruel taskmaster to remove something, and then just kind of continue to chew through it, and then you kind of weaken the flame imp so that way it can't get like a. Well, I guess it does trade with the armor smith, but in that case,
Yeah.
you're okay with that.
I don't know. I think
It's two options, I
yeah.
suppose.
Shield Slam in this matchup is not something you're going to get a ton of value for. So if you can use it early on, it's usually a good option. But he decides to go ahead and buff up that armor smith, try to chew through
Okay.
this shield. Interesting.
So
Okay.
this is what makes Kitkatz a really unique
Absolutely.
player because he always tells how people play Warrior wrong. And you know what? I'm ready for him to prove me wrong because he says that people always put these percentages like, oh, Zoo is favored against Warrior. Oh, Shaman's favored against Warrior. But he always says it's because people play the matchup incorrectly.
Mhm.
So I'm willing to learn. I'm ready to learn. I'm a Violet Teacher's Apprentice right now. Let's see what he's
Okay.
got.
I kind of like that. I mean, what's really cool about that move there is that he, in essence, forced his opponent to trade with his armor smith there. So he did deflect it, kind of almost making the armor smith like a taunt, essentially. So the knife juggler's still there. It's going to get some value, but it's kind of a cool little move there. Just an indirect move that he did there. Still has the slam. Still has the same move that we were talking about last turn if he wants.
He wants his juggle on the 2-2, and he's spending a while trying to think about it. Doesn't get it.
Missed. I think every single juggle's hit the face so far.
Well, that might end up paying off if he ends up winning by 1 or 2 damage. But
Yeah.
at the same time, you want to control the board as
Oh, look what he just drew. He drew a brawl. Next turn, he's going to be good.
okay.
That's a
Okay, Kit Kats.
perfect.
Well, he doesn't have the armor smith in play yet.
Oh, that's
That's the
right.
key component.
That's
We're about to bust some myths here or reveal the truth.
Oh, this is going to be a great turn. So I think you either shield block or you hero power here, shield slam that knife juggler, and you can clear two of these taunts right now.
Yeah, I think that's definitely at least the safer route to go. Opportunity cost of not using your hero power. Say if you use shield block here, sure you use all your mana, but you lose out on 2 armor you would have gained, assuming you can hero power every turn. But that's the way you kind of play against burn. I'm not sure if that's necessarily the way you want to optimize for Zoom per se necessarily. So it's kind of like a situational thing.
Yeah, I know what you
Instead,
mean.
Kitkatz once again leaving
Oh,
the
he's set,
knife jugglers.
dude. He's setting up the brawl. I'm telling you, he believes he believes in it so hard, man. I'm telling you.
I think
It-
if show's able to read this correctly, like maybe you drop a minion, if it hits the armor smith, you kill it with the 3/2, because
yeah.
you don't want to let your opponent brawl the following turn.
Well, this is
That's what you
interesting.
gotta be worried about.
If you let the knives shoot, Kickcast is going to gain an armor every time it hits something, right? So,
Sure, sure. So
I mean,
you see if it hits the armor smith. Oh, it does, and now he's gonna be able to trade it. So that's a really effective thing. And then from this point on, you just kind of clear and go for face. I say.
yeah. And Show goes ahead. He just overextends at this point. It kind of it's like the decision that you make with the Zoo a lot of times, where they just to go for the just go for the kill and hope that Kitkatz doesn't have a brawl, but he does have a brawl in his hand, and doesn't have
I
the
think
armor
he's gonna
smith.
have to rely. He's gonna have to rely on the cruel taskmaster.
It's the cruel
Here we go,
taskmaster.
baby.
Does the cruel taskmaster have the magic of the armor smith? Let's see.
Oh, it's lagged on my screen, Cam. You have to tell me what
Screen
happens.
slacked on my screen too. Crap.
No, come on. This is the cliffhanger.
There we
What
go.
happened? Did it
Oh,
win?
look.
Oh,
Oh,
okay. I didn't see it for a second. The 3-1.
shattered Sun Cleric. Not too bad. Still clears out the majority of the board, but
Well,
the
it
armor
was
would
the worst target I think would have been the Argent Squire with the shield because he can't actually kill it, and that
yeah.
would have been annoying. But this is the second worst option in the sense because he didn't. It has 3 attack, and that might end up being the minor difference that ends up pushing Show over the edge if he needs to reach for damage this game.
Oh wow, it's just so fortunate that he wasn't able to Argus this priestess here. That would have been really good for Show there. So now Kickhouse is going to be able to get like a 2-for-1 with the Kor'kron. Okay, Soulfire.
Yeah. Kind of annoying. Defender of Argus is basically a a 4 mana River Crocolisk.
Another Soulfire, and he can wait. He's got plenty of mana. That whatever he draws next is likely going to be played, unless it's a Doom Guard.
I'm telling you, Chan man, he's gonna reap the karma from the previous game and get the
Oh,
Doomguard next draw. You heard it
dude.
here first. Oh, but Kitkatz picks up again another really important thing. He's keeping his legendary somehow in the bottom half of his deck and picking up really good answers to whatever his opponent has, and he's been able to squeeze in his hero power, keeping up his effective life total. This Black Knight might not be as effective considering he's seen 3 or 4 taunts already, plus the Defender of Argus.
Yep.
But at the same time, I think he's feeling pretty good because it's still a Yeti that his opponent has to deal with.
All right, so Show draws two really good cards there. Got a Harvey and a Shattered Sun Cleric there, so that board's not going to be very easy for Kickcats to remove. Let's see what Kickcats get. Kickcats is kind of rounded. This is where you want to be as the control warrior. You know, mana 8 is when you run into some of your big minions like Ragnaros and gives you a lot of crazy options. But he hasn't drawn them yet. Draws a slam there, can give him an option to dig for something here.
Yeah, he can clear board with the Black Knight and put Black Knight on the board. He can Shield Slam, Whirlwind, and then kill off or something. And just play the Black Knight. He has the mana to do it. That
Okay.
is the obvious play. But you know, Kit Kats again has been thinking a little bit further than we have been so far in this game, and he's been able to come out of the bush pretty much unscathed. 24 health is really high relative to how late it is, and Zoo can't keep tapping because if you keep tapping late into the game and your opponent just has a Grommash, you might tap into lethal range.
No,
And so
yeah.
Show is going to be running out of time soon in order to end this game.
Okay, so I'm going to use the Shield Slam. Again, the Shield Slam typically doesn't get like a ton of value. Even getting 7 damage is pretty amazing for the Shield Slam in this matchup because normally Zoo's keeping your armor down completely. And okay, so he throws down the shield,
Okay.
throws down the Black Knight.
Oh man, there's an
Just
ooze
missed
inside
it.
of that is too
Just
bad.
missed it.
That is too bad. And I think you do have to play it. You know,
Yeah.
it's really annoying and unfortunate that you have to do this. Show He also wanted to see if he can pick up something like Doomguard, but he's not picking that up either. Kitkatz kept the Whirlwind because next turn, if he picks up Gromosh, and for some reason he can't kill the Black Knight and he taps, then he had 14 damage right there to end the game. So Kitkat's keeping his options open, and that Whirlwind will now pay off, I think, with
Yeah,
this plan.
Show's kind of reaching that point where, he's running out of steam. He's actually running out of opportunities to draw cards too. Like you said, that Gromosh combo is looming, and with 12 health, that's usually what you can kill with the Taskmaster, right? So we'll see if he ends up tapping next turn here.
Ooh, he picks up the
Oh,
Acolyte of Pain.
Acolyte double whirlwind, or is he gonna save a whirlwind? That's the question.
Let's see. Let's see. I think he doesn't have enough mana to play the second Whirlwind. Yeah.
Oh, a Gorehowl. Okay.
Oh, but he's so happy to see the Gorehound now that it comes out after the
Oh,
ooze has
look
been
at
played.
this. Wow. Okay. This is a very good turn for Show here.
And you know that Acolyte also taking 4 health. I think Sho doesn't want his opponent to draw 2 cards, but that stings having to miss 4 damage again.
Mhm.
The
Yep.
opponent's at
Oh,
26.
another Acolyte. Oh, and
Oh,
there's Grommash.
all right. Okay.
So he's got some things to work with here.
Can
All right, what
he?
do you do here? Man, do you just
Hmm.
use Grommash to remove some things? I mean, there's two taunts here, so obviously you don't have the combo yet. Do you could execute the ooze. Yeah, that's going to take a lot of damage from just trying to Gorehowl and knock through that Divine Shield.
I
The
think you want to save execute in case. Well, actually, he's almost out of taunts, right? So at this point, he only has, I think, one more Voidwalker in his deck, and that's his only taunt, unless he has another weird thing that
Hey,
Kick-Ass isn't expecting. In which case, this execute might be used as the finishing move, and with that in mind, you
okay.
use something like the Whirlwind Execute the next turn, and you use the Gorehound to set it up. In which case, you hope that he doesn't do 26 damage over the course of 2 turns, and you have a Gorehound and you have a Gormash finish the following turn.
Yeah, I can see that, but this turn is okay. Okay, so he's gonna go ahead and yeah,
Yeah, I think the
Acolyte.
Gorehound comes out.
That's right.
You challenge, and then you also most likely will draw with this Acolyte, so it gives you another option. And then you have
Yeah.
Whirlwind Execute to get through whatever taunt is being brought up. Plus, Show will tap, so you don't even have
Oh
to do
wow,
damage.
that's a lot of damage that he's got on the board right now. He's gonna have third. Oh, actually, just gonna trade into the Acolyte first, and then.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
What do
it's
you
not
think
going to
about
matter.
that? Do you think trading into Acolyte was smart? He just let go of four
Well, I
damage
mean,
to
at
the
this point, I
base.
think he doesn't want his opponent to draw into Grommash. There's a small chance he hasn't, but Kitkatz has one here because he will be able to attack into the shield,
Oh, sure, sure.
Whirlwind Execute, and
Yeah.
then from that point on, just be able
Hmm.
to clear the game.
All right, yeah. And that's the finish. And Kitkatz ties it up 2-2, and in a best of five series, he's looking good with that warrior, man. That was a really close game there. Uh,
Yeah, pretty
showed
tight.
yeah, shows you some great cards there at the end. Almost pulled it off. But what's Show gonna pull out at the very end here? Yesterday he was running a Druid, with the Rogue and Warlock, but we'll see if he changed it up today.
You know, despite the fact that Kit Katz had both shield blocks, he's been armoring up most of the game. He ended the game at 9 health because he had to use a lot of it with weapons.
It's great.
That, again, just shows you how much power that the Zoo deck brings. People should not be underestimating this any longer. People are even
Yeah.
making jokes, Zoo's so good, blah, blah, blah. But now it's gone down to the Druid deck here from Show, and he's already playing an interesting, different version than we've been seeing normally. We've seen Karen, we've seen Mark of the Wilds. Is this a ramp druid that we're coming out of Show?
Possibly. We've seen lots of hybrids, right, with Druid. Mark of the Wild definitely is an attribute of a Ramp Druid, and I love this matchup. I love watching Warrior versus Druid, so I'm really curious to see who's going to get off to a really quick start. And it looks like Show is probably going to get off to a quick start with the
Whoa!
Intermate and a Wild Growth, and
Wow,
he's got 2 5s sitting there too. This is going to be pretty amazing for him.
that is disgusting.
That is pretty
The
disgusting.
top deck, the wild growth, it just gives you so much possibilities. I mean, it's over the next 8 turns, he's gonna have an extra mana, so he's gonna have 8 more mana to fit in plays.
Yeah. Kitkatz, I think one of the things that you want to do as a warrior is to get pressure on the druid. Get those acolytes, taskmasters, armor smiths on the board. That's definitely one approach to do it. Another approach is just to kind of armor up, get ready for a lot of those big minions. And if you have a lot of removal in your hand, like shield slams and execute, just kind of position those really, really well. And he's got the choice here. He's actually got shield block and shield slam as well as those minions I was talking about. So it'll be interesting to see if he tries to get that acolyte out. Yeah, there he goes.
Yep. Now, all he does is hope SjoW doesn't have something to immediately kill it, or even worse, silence it, and then obviously doesn't get any draw. We've been seeing how Warrior is highly impacted by the lack of draw early game, but there are ways to recover from it. It's not by all means the game defining moments.
Yeah, as long as you get one, I think Kitkatz was actually completely fine just getting one from acolyte because on Pro Corner I was asking him like how
Yeah.
important is guaranteeing more than one card from an acolyte, and he's like, ah, it's not that important. So I'm like, okay,
It's cycles, you know. That's what it ultimately does. It's just a 3 mana loot hoarder sometimes, but
Mhm.
at the same regards, it does soak up removal. You know, it took a wrath away, which is really nice considering that he has some minions in his hand that he doesn't want to. And the best thing is that he got his second acolyte
Yeah,
just
he
now.
literally recycled, so
Yeah.
he got it back. Oh, he got an armor smith too, so this is really nice for him.
Okay, good start, good start.
Yeah,
But unfortunately, what's going to happen is if he drops the second acolyte, SjoW is going to have high incentive to just drop Druid the Claw and charge it. And again,
yeah,
doesn't really draw too much. But at the same time, it's like as if he's able to just kind of stabilize his early game, Kitkatz is still going to be fine in the long run because Warriors, as much as it's really hard to kind of stabilize his early game sometimes against Druid with innervates. If you can kind of build up your armor with shield blocks and armor up and shield slams and get efficient trades like that, you still
yeah.
have a pretty good chance to win. Even though people traditionally say Druid is favored against Warrior.
All right, let's see what SjoW does here. He does have a choice. He could Azure and draw a card also, but I think Druid the Claw is typically a really good player. Just so, like you said, just guarantee a single card from the acolyte. Be a little bit more proactive. Force your opponent to have a fiery war axe to be very very efficient in removing. He can use a shield. No, actually, he can't use a shield sim because he didn't play the armor smith there. So this could be a very unoptimal turn for Kitkatz to remove this guy.
You can shield block, shield slam. I think
Yeah,
that might be a
right.
logical way to kind of answer this. He ends up drawing anyways for the acolyte, so it's not like he's falling behind in card advantage. In fact, with that shield block cycling immediately, he
Mhm.
certainly won't. And he picks up really important cards. Again, these big, heavy hitting legendaries that seemed to avoid
Mhm.
Kit Kat's last game until when
Yeah,
he really needed them are now coming in early. Especially coming into those mana curves, like things like Azure Drake, into follow up plays like Baron Geddon, into like Alex Strauss and Gromash. That can just spell early death for SjoW if he's not able to establish any board. Because I see a lot of situational cards in his hand, like Big Game Hunter, and he
yeah.
hasn't found an application for Innervate yet.
Oh, he's gonna draw into there you go. So he's gonna shield Sam. Go ahead and do that shield block. Shield Sam play you were talking about. And then
Oh, Alex Strauss, oh my God. He has everything.
yeah, he's got everything in here. It's the straight up control warrior with all the good stuff at the end. Double Harvest Golem is going to be really strong for SjoW here. Kitkatz is going to struggle to remove this.
At
But the
this
Azure
point, I'm
Drake,
wondering what
perfect
else
timing.
Kit Kat needs at his disposal. He has Gorehal, he has Alex and Grom, even has some clears. Oh yeah, why not? Why not the Black Knight? Join the party. His invite was sent out, right?
Well, if it is indeed a Ram Druid, then we might see some big taunts at the end. So Black Knight could be amazing for him.
True.
But all we've seen so far is the Marco Wild. So I'm not sure if it's the variation with the big taunts at the end. But this is going to be a tough ward for him, and he's not that close to Baron Geddon, which can kind of help you kind of match up all just kind of soften up a lot of these guys and just have Baron Geddon remove a lot of it.
Sure,
So he's
sure.
going to have to use Korkrons. Actually, Korkron's a very good draw here.
Yeah, you can remove it. You're certainly not behind in cards, so playing a little bit inefficient in terms of Azure Drake cycling and cantripping, and you kind of sacrifice a minion. That's pretty okay. I think you don't want to give Druid an ability to burst, right? Let's
Yeah,
say you for some reason you leave your minions up on your opponent's board. If he innervates Savage Roar, Force of Nature,
yeah.
that is way too much damage to be taking. Like as much as you're at 29 health, like you never ever should underestimate what Druids can do with Innervate and Force of Nature Savage Roar.
Yeah, I think Corcoran would be a really good player. And I guess the question is whether you play an Armor Smith with it, get like a couple armor as you're removing some of the board here, or do you play a Taskmaster and remove the damaged Harvest Golem so that all that's left on the board is the Harvest Golem for SjoW here.
I like the cool Taskmaster play because if you're going to commit to removing the board, you might as well go all into it.
Yeah,
You don't even have a shield slam, so it's not like you're building up something into it. Are
yeah,
you really afraid of a 29 or 31 health lethal next turn?
yeah.
I
I
don't
I
think
hear you.
so. Yeah.
I agree with that. And it looks like he is going with that play there. And show. See what choices. He's got an innervate there, so if he draws like the double Savage Roar, it could get pretty interesting for him. Ooh, actually, the swipe will be a really
Yep.
good turn for him potentially next turn if the Azure Drake stays alive
No,
too.
you can
Actually, he's gonna do it
innervate it
right
right
now.
now.
He's gonna do it right
Exactly.
now with the innervate. Yeah.
Especially with a Force of Nature, just has to draw into Savage Roar. He has
Mhm.
Cairn, which is actually very difficult
Oh yes.
traditionally
Oh
for the
God.
ward to remove, but
Oh
Gorehowl does
yeah.
end up presenting a response to that. Kitkatz has to kind of be a little bit careful. Now he's starting to run out of health. He doesn't have the room to just continue armor up. He has great quality cards in his hand. In fact, I'm very jealous because I'm laddering on EU and I don't have half these cards. But Kitkatz, can he find the mana and the time to play all these things? Does he
Yeah.
have the space?
It's getting dangerous for him right now, quite honestly, because 22, he takes some more damage if he decides to play Goral here. He's going to be definitely within range of the Druid to potentially finish him here, especially with Karen coming down, because Goral is usually the best way to remove Karen. Generally, because there's no silence in
Yes.
the warrior, and it's the most cost-effective card that you can use against a warrior. So this is looking
Oh
pretty
wow.
scary for Kitkatz right now.
Two Death Rattle minions, so it's really difficult to remove them. And
Yeah.
if he threatens a combo, which that's exactly what it is, Kitkatz, he's under the gun. He has to think of a way to get out of this. He needs and he doesn't even have things like execute to easily deal with like the Karen. You can
Yeah,
smash
that's
it
what he's
down,
missing. That's what he's missing right now.
executes.
Wow. So I
Wow.
think this is rough. I mean, I think you might be even thinking about Alexing next turn yourself, potentially, believe it or not.
It might have to if his opponent just
Yeah.
whittles him down.
Uh,
And in this respect, all of his minions are a little clunky, and especially like Baron which hurts himself. Black Knight and Harrison are way too expensive relative to the stats you get. And so you might just feel like being defensive, Armor Smith, Cool Task Mastering, and then like killing the Cairn or something. I don't know. All these
oh,
plays are bad. And like, I feel
yeah.
like Kit Kats is in a
I,
really unlosable. This is the last game too. Like either one of these guys,
yeah.
whoever wins, moves on. This feels so bad if you're Kit Kats because you just feel like you're at the mercy of
Oh.
your opponent.
And this is a good read by Kitkatz. I think Kitkatz knows that he's in range of possibly dying this turn since there's already 6 damage on the board. Even just the Force of Nature by itself, is scary. So he's going to go ahead and opt for just throwing down,
Sure.
yeah, just throwing down some armor. Or actually, he armored up first, and just removing that single harvest column.
I think you're right in the sense that he wants to plan to use Alex Straza. So rather than give armor to himself to keep his armor health artificially high, he lowers it down. I think actually it's kind of inconsequential either way, but
Yeah.
maybe that's what he's thinking. Actually, I'm convinced
Well,
of it
I'm pretty
because
sure that's what he's thinking because he armored first. You usually don't armor
that's
first.
what I'm saying. Because also the follow up is he has Gore House. So what happens is if his opponent's unable to kill him, he lowers his own health as low as possible and then bounces it back up with Alex Straza.
Yeah. All right, and
Ah.
show and removing all of these armor smiths.
Oh man, SjoW is all in on this combo working right now, and he also recognized that Kitkatz doesn't have a way to easily remove the Cairn. So he says, well, obviously he doesn't have like shield block, shield slam, so hopefully he doesn't have it this turn.
But this
And in that respect, I think SjoW is setting himself up to potentially win, but it is pretty dependent on the draw on the top of his deck.
so this is going to make for a really interesting turn for Kitkatz because he could actually just make a power move here and go for Alex Strazing show and setting up a potential draw for a Grommash finish. Or is he going to try to just remove as much as possible on this board? This is going to be an
Well, you have to
interesting turn.
wonder. You have to wonder because he had the opportunity to combo. Is he missing one of the combo? Is he missing both of the combo? If he has just Savage Roar, is that enough to actually kill him? Say if he has something like a swipe and a Savage Roar, that might actually kill him. So Kit Kat still has to be really careful in that respect, not to just underestimate his opponent, saying like, okay, well, you obviously didn't kill me with full combo. Maybe he has pieces of it, in which case he still has to be respectful of it.
Yeah, no, I hear you, but it's like, what are his choices here? I mean, he doesn't have much of. I mean, the Karen's gonna Bane's at the very least gonna be back on the board if you remove it with say a Grommash or I don't even know what you would do with that. So I don't even know if it gives you You could try to set up the damage pre-Alexstrasza, you know, and potentially end him with the Alexstrasza play,
Hmm.
which I think that's what he's trying to go with here. He'll probably swing at the Yeti, I'm imagining, or either one.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I mean, they're both effectively
yeah, it's the
Yetis.
same thing.
And again, Kitkatz is basically saying you have to have it. He might even force removal from his opponent if he can't deal with this immediately. And
Mhm.
as SjoW is able to, but if SjoW picks up the combo piece, which he does!
He
Oh,
does.
wow, SjoW
Oh
advances
wow, what a
to the next
oh
round with
man.
another top deck to save the game. This is bananas. And now Kitkatz, he is out of the tournament once again. All of his meticulous calculations to stay alive and plan out the next 2 turns, assuming his opponent couldn't deal with it and had to take the damage, he had